Hey, Zach, how's it going, man?
Hey, good, uh, good to hear you. Actually, I think I hear my doubling for some reason. Is that the case with you?
I hear you echoing, Zach. You
Y-
may have to come back.
Yeah, I think I will come back or hang up and come back. I'll be right back.
Aha. There you are, Tressa. I was just getting ready to ask you to call in. Are you
Yeah,
here?
I'm here. I was having some technical difficulties with my phone, but I got it to work.
Oh, don't we love to hate them or hate to love them? I'm not sure which. Probably both.
Yeah.
Zach actually just bowed out and is coming back now because he was there. He is. Zach, you back?
Yeah, any better?
Way clearer.
Oh,
Yep,
nice, nice.
not choppy at all. You apparently they got you in there and got you a good connection. So Tressa has joined us. She come in right as you went out. Thank God.
I know,
This is like
right? Oh, man.
air traffic controlling just for a minute. We'll get everybody here and get ready to go. How is everybody? Tressa, you getting snow out there?
Yeah, today was actually the first day it started to snow, and it was pretty mellow in the morning, but we started getting some pretty big snowflakes going on during the day, and it happened to be while I was working outside, of course, which was fun, but
Yeah, that's the way it goes. The
yeah.
beauty of working outdoors, which I work indoors, but I did do a lot of outdoor working when I was younger, is there's a freedom to it that you love being outdoors, but you're also exposed to the elements. So you got to get your Carhartts on. And, Indiana, where I'm from, is pretty rough in the winter. Right now, we're sitting at about 8 inches of snow that we got Saturday. Well, late
Oh,
Friday,
wow.
early Saturday. And it's a whole lot of fun because we're not used to that. And I don't know if you know much about Indiana, but it's totally flat where I live. So
Right.
the snow just doesn't go anywhere. It just lays there. I wish I had the benefits of hills and mountains like Zach does.
Oh,
Right.
funny
But
What?
that.
anyway,
Yeah.
well, you do too, don't you, Tressa? You're out west, correct?
Yeah, I'm in Utah. I've got lots of
That's what
mountains.
I thought. Western U.S. I couldn't remember exactly. Yeah, I have mountain envy. I always have. Went
That's
up
a
to
different
Colorado
kind of
and
mountains
acted
out
like a
there. That's
fool.
Rocky Mountains. That's something else.
Newer mountains with higher peaks. Exactly.
Hmm.
So we'll get past the Turkey Day things. Everybody have a good Thanksgiving.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I don't believe I could eat another turkey sandwich. We actually switched gears to pizza today. I got done with the leftovers. I'm like, that's it. We're just going to have to throw them away. But anyway, thank God. Thank God that's over. I got to be thankful, visit my mom, my dad, all that stuff. Lucky to still have them. Grateful,
Yeah.
all that. And, you're thankful for all the things and thankful for reading poetry. You think we should get to that sometime soon?
Do it.
We have a
Absolutely.
lineup.
Yeah. We do have a lineup, for sure. Do you
We're
think we
going to
should
start, Zach. Yeah, go ahead. I'm
um
sorry.
no, no, no. I just wanted to let the Parchies know who are listening into the podcast that they could find us selecting poems at the top of the topic board that says reading podcast episodes 7 and 8. And if you scroll down halfway, that's where we'll be starting the eighth show, which is tonight. Uh, yeah. And without further ado, Bill, should we start the poet of the month segment?
Yeah, we should, I think. We should do that poet of the month. Every month, guys, we're doing from our group, we submit entries for a ranked uh, we like to honor somebody whose writing is very good and submits a great piece. I hate to call it a competition or a contest, but we rank them, based on a lot of different criteria that is very consistent. And it's amazing the 2 months that we've did it, how consistently each of us have ranked the poems that tickled our fancy. The first month, it was Mike Horsfall was our first one. And our second one, we're very proud to announce, is our own Merv Graham. Merv wrote a beautiful piece that was heart wrenching and well put together, and it had such an emotional journey. Absolutely beautiful, and we were all very pleased to read it and comment on that. So Tressa, let's start here. I'm going to go ahead and read this one in just a minute, but
Okay.
Are you on the list, Tressa? You know where we are
I believe so, yeah.
as far as pulling poems? Okay. So
Yes.
like Zach said, without further ado, even though I did have some ado there, without further ado, off we go. This is Where Were You by our own Merv Graham. Where were you, Jesus, when the air in the waiting room grew thin and cold? We had practiced belief, polished the words of the oldest, most hopeful hymns, spilled them out like oil on water. Where were you when we prayed? Not the quick, muttered grace, but the deep, raw kind, pulled from the root of fear. A collective, desperate breath for our sister, Teen. She lay still, a small boat adrift on a fevered sea. We pleaded for your touch, for the swift, impossible cure, a word from you to turn the tide. We were there, Jesus. The nurses moved in soft shoes. The machines beeped their steady, unemotional rhythm, and we whispered your name until our throats were dry. We were there, offering up our best, most honest hope, our bargain of futures. Where was your solace then? Not the vague comfort of a distant promise, but the burning clarity of your presence. The cure she needed, the one we begged for, it never came. The light dimmed. The small boat found its shore. And your Father, the one who moves mountains, the one who sent you, where was he? On that ordinary night, to send you to us, to her, at her profoundest time of need. The question hangs, a bell without a rope, in the silent, empty place where the answers should have been. In poem. There's also a Suno link there. Merv made it into a song. If you guys want to go, the Suno link is right there. You can go check it out some other time. But boy, wasn't that. I don't know if you guys could tell, but I had to stop a couple of times to clear some things up. So.
Right.
And I don't know, Zach, you read this one because it was submitted for Poet of the Month, I know, but I don't think Tressa had. Would you like to go first, Tressa?
Sure, I will. I had to mute myself for a minute there because it was definitely like it is an emotional, unreally raw piece. Like you can feel his heart hurting, you know what I mean? You can feel the pain from it and the loss from it. And what popped into my head when I was listening to it was, I don't know if you ever heard or remember the song Don't Take the Girl by Tim McGraw.
Absolutely.
But it just reminded, because that was always such an emotional song to me. And like, he really portrayed well, like, take me instead. Like, that's what I'm willing to do right now. I'm trying to bargain with you, like, whatever needs to be done. Like, that desperation there, like, he expressed it extremely well. And also, like, the battle of having to deal with grieving the loss of someone while also having your faith challenged, like, that creates a whole nother level of complication of what you're already going through. And I can relate to that situation, and I know how hard it is, especially like when you're trying to go to like your pastor or whoever your church leader is and ask why are all these horrible things happening in life. And the basic answer that I would always get was, you just need to have faith. Like, God has a plan for everything. Just have faith. And it never actually like answered anything. And it just made it more frustrating. And it's just a really unpleasant situation to be in. And it ends up making people question their beliefs spiritually. And it can turn you into a bitter and spiteful person. And it's just a really rough place to be. So my heart definitely goes out to him with that. And he did a great job with writing it.
Well said, Tressa. Zach, what do you think?
Yeah, this piece, I really caught the repetition of it the most in kind of like a building sort of way. It was repetitive, but it was never redundant. It was like a crescendo each time that the repetition was there. That we were the question that is posed. The where were you then when all this suffering was happening? There's like definitely a sense of faith, definite sense of faith being challenged, as just Tressa was saying, for sure, and just like almost like a bitter, like sort of like wanting solace but not getting it, not getting the answers that the speaker is searching for, that they don't so desperately seek. It's just so gut wrenching, and to me, the question, the unanswered question, is posed best by the symbol of the question hanging a bell without a rope. So that to me is a very powerful symbol. It's just something that a symbol that, like, without a rope, it's just sitting up there without like a means to be told, and that's kind of like a really heck of an emotional weight to bear. I could really feel that at the end.
Oh, I agree, Zach. And what you and Tressa were both saying was absolutely right. Johnny's daddy's taking him fishing. He was 8 years old. That's it, Tressa. You're right. And the reason that song was so gripping in its sadness was because it got a hold of you and ripped your guts out from the opening line, which is the parallel you made with Merv's poem, because line after line, it was just ripping your heart out, wasn't it?
Right.
It really was. The emotion was so palpable. And then to have, not often, I was really moved by the fact that it was so emotional and also exploratory, like Tressa had said, and you alluded to, Zach, he was challenged. Their faith was challenged. Everything was challenged. In those moments, you look deep, you look at everything, at all the contributing factors, but the emotion of this piece was just so raw and just held you there. It was well deserving of Poet of the Month, and well done, Merv. Again, we're going to say sorry for your loss, because I know it affected you deeply, and it will for however long you go on. That's grief. Grief's a lifetime, isn't it? Well written, Merv. Well written. You made us feel it. Thank you. All right. Now I suppose we'll gather ourselves and see where we go from there. My guess is the next one probably be a little less sad, hopefully.
Next up, we have Belladonna Nightshade's piece, and that's the Cliffside House, and that's Tressa's read.
All right. The ocean disappeared behind the fog, but I still sat on the edge of the hill, watching with a mind that forgot living. Beauty remains unnamed. A ghost reappears to remind me of the little I deserve, an insignificant, hollow proxy, a shell adorned, collected. Windy chaos reveals his method of assault, and he searches for weaknesses that are not there, waiting for me to play a game of chess, defensively, constantly threatening. The chill of winter freezes time, and my heart is protected from the beating rhymes. Shining street lamps light a path to the cliffside house, and I've been afraid of ghosts and hauntings, fearful to open the door and see what I find in the exhausting emptiness of disguise. He still lingers in front of double doors locked, a thin line of salt guarding me against a tainted love. End poem.
All right, Zach, you get to go first on this one. Well read.
Sure. Oh yeah, well read. I was struck by the predominant feeling was coldness. Coldness and like a hollowness too. I felt like sort of insignificant in a way within this piece. I felt like dwarfed by this presence of I guess this ocean, like a seashell that is like frozen and ready to be shattered almost. There's like a fragileness to this like these thoughts, or rather that seemed like sharp, that the speaker deserves these thoughts, and this appears to the speaker in the guise of a ghost, and in the wind, the speaker sees, I guess, their significant others. Maybe the method of abuse is like I guess like could see it in kind of like nature almost, and almost like a predatory, like like sizing up somebody like from afar, searching for weaknesses, like not really, it's not really a connection there. It's more like a game to him, or the person, the significant other. It's not a real relationship there. It's more toxic than anything else. I think whatever exists there is frozen in time, and very haunted, and I could feel the energy it would take to sustain something like that. It just is gut wrenching, and I think the two lines that stuck out to me the most were just the ending, the thin line of salt guarding me against a tainted love. That kind of protection is a symbolic sort of protection that sort of within that person, within that self, at the end, is a kind of right at the core of where it is, I think.
I'm going to start with that friggin' background. I can't believe that background is so gorgeous. I'm envious of that. You guys, if you're not on All Poetry looking at this poem, Belladonna has placed a background up there that is just stunning. An old Victorian house on a cliffside with windows facing out. And it really is gorgeous. Wow. The prompt she uses within the background, and the background is very busy, but I think it actually helps the way she did it kind of hammer home the point that I took from this poem. It is somebody is like right on that edge of, losing it, going off the deep end, falling off the cliff, whatever cliche you want to use. But she describes that cliche in a very artistic way, and how waiting for me to play a game of chess defensively, constantly threatening. So whatever it is keeping the writer on her toes, on high alert, and always playing defense because the offense is coming and it's consistent and all that. And the way, like, I haven't read a whole bunch of Belladonna's yet. I think I'm about 5 or 6 pieces in right now at this point. She does so well with masking the metaphors, blending, not masking, blending the metaphors, fading in and out and all of that. It's just so gorgeous. I have to think a lot about her pieces whenever I read them. And that is a good thing that I appreciate, Belladonna. And I love this piece and what it was saying. Let's see, Tressa, I think it's your turn, isn't it?
Yeah, sure.
You read it.
Yep. I actually am becoming a very big fan of her writing. Like, she has such a beautiful way with words, and like you said, the metaphor part of it, she's really good with adding different layers into her poetry. And like, for me personally, what I got from this, like, it reminded me of the cycle of being in a relationship with a narcissist, and how like kind of how good they are at manipulating you at first and making you like they love bomb you and just all the greatest things, and so you become so attached to them, and then all of a sudden like they start playing those little games and they start devaluing your sense of worth and making you feel like you don't deserve and all of these things. And you eventually, like, if you stick around long enough, you completely lose any sense of your own identity, any sense of yourself. And that's what it reminded me of, like her sitting on that cliff, and like beyond the fog, there is this big, beautiful expanse of ocean, but she can't see it because this fog is surrounding her. And she's not even really there. Like she's present, but she's not really in herself. Like she doesn't even know who she is anymore. She's kind of just empty at that point because she gave everything that she had to give. And it kind of reminded me of like when they say that when you dream about a house, it's kind of like your psyche. Every different room is like a different aspect of a memory or something that like is a past experience of yours, whether it be good or bad. And to me, it felt like because she's speaking as him being a ghost, so he's no longer in the situation, but yet she's still trapped in it. And like that's the cycle that you go through. I experienced it myself. Like it's very hard once you allow yourself to be literally just completely demolished like that and losing all sense of self. Even when they're gone, you still find yourself in your head with that battle, and it's extremely hard to get out of. But that's what came to mind when I thought about it. And
I,
she
I
did
love
a great job.
I love your feminine insight there, Tressa. Well said, because that's an aspect of that piece that I wouldn't have thought of. My wife may have, because she's lived with someone who's been accused of being a narcissist once or twice. But I'm the good kind. All right, what do we got next?
Next up, we have Dark Night of the Soul's piece, and that's called The Light Between Men, and I'm going to read that one. August sun is a lover, caking heat on pale skin that turns pink into gold. The northern breeze whistles, through hair standing out on end between limbs, on groin, touching flesh, they bathe in its caress. River cools warm buttocks, shines against thick legs and trimmed chests. Men become drops of water, air and sunlight. Elements become droplets of men. Sun worshippers intoxicated on testosterone, their own, each other's. Eyes see bodies, the mundane, the ordinary, in ripe blossoms of sexual blooming. Words said by men, with bravado, with humor, with dares. Mask profound primal beauty and the raw, the naked, the honest. There are moments hard to process or understand. There is a light between men. End poem.
That's interesting, because I'm trying to process this piece and put it in terms of what my life experiences are. And obviously, grew up a young man turning into a man. I remember in junior high how horrible it was to have to, yes, I'm aging myself, square dance with girls the first time, go into a PE locker room and take a shower with a bunch of other boys around, and how ridiculous that was. But then that was like seventh grade, eighth grade. Junior high, I get into junior high, I'm playing football. I'm with my buddies playing football for the high school football team, and we take showers and flip each other in the butt with towels and stuff like that. And it is so casual that it's almost it's natural. It's really natural, and you can go back to biblical shame, why that happened and all that if you want to. But the fact of the matter is, in our psyche, there is something to being naked as a physical and then turning it into a metaphor. If you're naked in front of somebody, there's nothing to hide. They know who you are. You know, and then there can be an admiration that is just a genuine admiration, whether it turns into something of a sexual nature or whatever. It doesn't even matter, because this poem isn't really about that as much in my mind as it is about recognizing, oh my, you know, we're 16 years old, our muscles are developing, we're turning into men, and things like that. And you recognize there's a different look from a 12-year-old boy to a 17-year-old boy. And it's kind of neat to think like that. But then you think about your buddies, and when you're hanging out and you're, you know, doing whatever boys do, because we do terrible, ridiculous, horrible things when we're in groups to each other, you know, that involve farts and stuff like that. But this is not that crude, but it comes from the same place because of that camaraderie, because of that, almost like I'm watching Stranger Things with my wife. And I really appreciate that. And that is the beauty of that series, is there's this feeling of like great togetherness. And that's what this feels like to me. Now, obviously, there are some sexual overtones and things like that, which does make it a little bit different, but it comes from the same place and it has a beauty to it. Okay, Tressa, what are your thoughts from a feminine point of view?
Yeah, I can't really relate so much to the watching my body age as a man and the muscle thing and everything, but I mean, I can relate to what you were saying about the aspect of being naked in front of people, just not even physically, just the vulnerable side, the side that you are just fully opened up and you're carefree and you feel embraced. You don't have any worries going on. Like, you're just in the moment and enjoying it for what it is. And the way that it was written, I feel like it was a really good balance between like a gentle connection between the men, the boys, and also like adding the obvious like tone of the masculinity in there and the change that they're going through. It was like a very smooth flowing right. It just felt like it was just really effortless to read. Yeah, I enjoyed it. It was one of those ones that could be taken in multiple different ways, and I think it was a brave and daring poem to write. I respect it.
Yeah, me too. Zach, your thoughts?
I thought this was there was a beauty to this piece, a sense of existing as one is. There's like a sense of blending like the natural and the human together. I guess, and on this beach, there's a comfortableness with nature and each other in this sort of primal natural state. I guess this is like almost like men going back to their evolutionary roots in a way, and there's like a beautiful like shamelessness to that. I think, in a way, being that like comfortable in that state, it's communal in a way. There's a very there's some like sexual overtones to it, sure, but that's not what I get from it the most out of. I just get for real like a sense of togetherness out of it the most, more than anything, and like a communal bond for sure.
Yeah, camaraderie is what I felt.
Camaraderie, that's right. Yeah,
I agree with you 100%. It's a good piece. What do we got now, Zach?
Next up we have A Sunflower Scorched, and that's yours, Bill.
Yeah, well, I'll try to shift gears here to this one. Let's see if I can read my own poem. "'Tis it rain a fallen on this solemnest morn, betwixt the sun and earth, where giants once were born. Yesteryear is over, tomorrow's nevermore. claimed by fate's cruelest hand, death cometh to thy door. Shade lingers on thy corpse, like shadows on a grave, reaping mournful sorrow, yon harvested decay. Rain cleanse thy mortal flesh, return from whence thee came. Death is thine air to breathe, cold silence of the slain. Light once feddeth thine soul, then burned thy body down. Dark clouds sheddeth thy tears, whilst quietest surrounds. 'Twas the scent and omen, foreshadowing the mood. Rain falls this somber morn, smell thy sunflower ood. End poem. Wait, I liked reading that. I'm sorry, guys. I don't mean to. That is the first time I've read that out loud, and I can't wait to hear it back. Go ahead. Let's see. Tressa. Or Zach, I'm sorry.
Oh.
No, it is Tressa. I'm sorry. Tressa, you're next.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I got confused.
You're good. No, this one had such like it was a beautiful kind of melancholy to it. Like it's someone having to like come to terms with the fact that they're helpless in the situation that they're in the circumstances that they're in, and there's nothing that they can do but basically like surrender to their fate. Like they know what's coming, and they're basically coming to terms with it. Bringing it into the aspect of something like a sunflower in nature. Like there's nothing more eye-opening than watching like a flower in full bloom and all of its beauty like start to wilt up and die, like because it has its own form of life and essence in it, you know what I mean? And it's just seeing something so beautiful having to be the thing that fades away because of circumstances that are out of its control. That was very sad to think about, but it was beautifully written, and you read it really well, and I liked the Shakespeare kind of vibes. It reminded me of like not necessarily Romeo and Juliet, but like the vibes that he was like talking to someone, that like sending a goodbye letter to someone that he cared about kind of thing. It was a very good poem, and I liked it.
Well, thank you, Tressa. I really like that. What you had to say, Zach. Your thoughts? I'm sorry too, Zach. I was looking at last week's list.
It's all good. No, I enjoyed hearing you read this one. I think I liked how the rain sort of initiated this whole sequence, really. And this it's kind of the cycle of inevitable decay, really. I thought that initially, the first time I read it, I really focused on one flower decaying and going through the cycle amidst the storm, really. And then, like, I think the second time I read it, it was rather like a field. So it had a field of sunflowers. So it looked a lot different to me in my mind's eye. So each flower kind of had its own different resonance. It looked very much different, like a blackening field going from like yellow to black and then yellow again, and under that sky, and it's a very vivid image sort of landscape too, and I like it has like almost like a pastoral sense to it, could be written too from a at an older age too, like a Shakespearean 16th century, 1600s sort of thing. I felt like the words could very well be used to construct a piece like this, and I really enjoyed it. It was melancholy, but it wasn't. It wasn't. It didn't bring me down. It didn't bring down my mood. It was just like kind of like accepting the way things are with the cycle of nature and the way things sort of pass and then appear again. That's kind of what it gave to me, kind of like to be like feeling melancholy about the overall life cycle of a flower.
I like specifically what you said there, Zach, about it feeling pastoral. That is well said, because this poem, and I'll go very simply from where it came from. My buddy Brooks Smith sent me a cello piece, an original cello score that he wrote. And he sent it to me, and he was like, hey, see what you think about this. And he told me what he titled it, A Sunflower Scorched. And it came from him writing this cello piece, and I was trying to write an equal poem for it. Not lyrics, but an equal poem for it that matched the mood and somberness and stuff like that. And the first one I wrote, once I listened to it and I was reading it and listening to his cello music, I said, oh my God, that isn't even remotely close to sad enough. So I threw that completely out and started over. And that's when I got to the Shakespearean tone that you and Tressa had both mentioned. And it seemed so natural with the somber cello music to make it that way. But quite literally, this is about, my friend has several sunflowers along the outside of his house. And he said the sunflowers were tall and strong one day, but he could tell as the weather dried out, we were coming up to harvest season. It's the cycle, just like you guys mentioned. It's all very clear. One had fallen over and the others were slumped a little bit looking at it, is what moved him to write the cello piece. Then when he described that to me, it was after I had wrote this. And I was like, I'll be darned. We kind of matched the same scene. And it's neat that you guys each picked that out, because it was really written like a funeral mourning. Like the speaker, is talking of their lost friend, but then their lost friend, they know they're next because they're bowing heads and all that stuff, and it's coming. So it was kind of neat, and I'm glad it got through to you guys. It was my first attempt at anything like Shakespearean like that. So I was glad it resonated with you guys, and I'm glad it read well, because I honestly figured I'd mess it up a little bit. What do we got next, Zach?
Next up, we have Purple Jerper's piece, and that one is 21 Lessons, and that's your read, Tressa.
Okay. Oh, 1 second. Okay, there we go. 1. You deserve love just as much as others do. 2. Self-care is not just skincare. Practice wellness in other ways too. 3. Your body is just fine. It's okay to get a little bloated. 4. Don't let anyone take you for granted. 5. Your competitiveness shouldn't get the best of you. 6. Don't ever be afraid to experience anything new. 7. Live every moment as if it's your last. 8. Move forward towards the future. Let go of your past. 9. There is no fixed age to pursue passions and dreams. 10. It is not too late to work on your self-esteem. 11. Don't let others exploit your weakness for your downfall. 12. Never let others' harsh words make you feel small. 13. You are more than your looks. There is beauty within. 14. Learn from every loss. Celebrate your every win. 15. Unhealthy desire to be the best of all will only make you worse. 16. You are not your parents. You can break the generational curse. 17. Your cousins may be scholars, but that doesn't make you less smart. 18. Yes, a career is important, but don't let go of your art. 19. Even if your family thinks you are one, you are not a disgrace. 20. Live first, think about death later. It will arrive at its own pace. 21. People will come and go, but the real ones will always stay. Now blow out your candles. An existential crisis can come another day. Life is what it is. You move forward and explore. You've already survived 21 years, and you will live many more. End poem.
Well read, Tressa. I like this. Zach, what are your thoughts?
I really enjoyed this one. It was like an increasingly positive series of it read like a series of increasingly positive self affirmations, and it's just like a lovely chain of rhyme. Like it was a mixture of rhyming bits of advice, some self love in there. I caught living in the moment, perceiving, like I had a lot of neat things about perception and the way others perceive you and the way the speaker perceives others. And I think all of these are very wise. And the progression is, I like the way it kind of tells a story with the you is in the second person. It's kind of hard to do that, I'd imagine. But I still like that. I guess every year, I guess it's the 21 of these. So I guess every one of these represents 21 years roughly. So I guess that's just a cool, a cool bit of structure there. And, I really like how it's not pretentious despite, giving advice. I feel like some pieces could be really pretentious when giving advice, but this piece is not like that. Or like beating you over the brow or head with something that like is really a lot, but this is not like that. It's very subtle and not overt in that way, and I like that especially. And it's very I could take a lot of these to heart, and I think if the speaker lives this way, that it's very possible that living many more years will result, I think, and it's very, very, very affirming.
Well said, Zach. It is a lot of affirmations in there. So there was some good stuff, some wisdom. So I'm going to start out by reading the author's notes. I turned 21 today. Yay me. It feels great because I've had ups and downs. Grad school, family, friends, mental health, future. Somewhere along the way, I was convinced being 21 would mean end of everything. Crazy, I know, but I had been doing lots of grounding and decided that these will be my lessons as I officially become an adult. Lesson 20, especially, is what I will focus on. So I'm going to go to lesson 20 to start with. It seemed to be the most important to purple. Live first. Think about death later. It will arrive at its own pace. Boy, isn't that true? That doesn't mean live risque. Obviously, no living on the edge. We don't want to fall off the cliff, but we want to know the cliff's there. That's exciting. I like a lot of what this says. You could tell, she's really struggling with that coming of age, coming into her own, hasn't found her own identity yet, and is comparing herself to all these other people that she knows that is around her and stuff like that. And we've all been through it, man, where we don't live up to everybody else's expectations, but then we realize slowly and steadily the one life lesson that will hold true for your entire life is live up to your expectations. They're the only ones that matter because it's your life. In the end, you will be making every decision that affects your life. So make those decisions for you, not for everybody else. When you get to that point, and that's what I felt like this piece was going towards. I am my own person now. Look at me. Woo-hoo. It's a celebration. There's nothing sad to it. What are your thoughts, Tressa?
Oh my gosh, I really enjoyed this one. This was like a coming of age, but like with claiming and owning your power, like choosing at such for me, that 21 is a young age now, and like I really I just really
I'm laughing with you,
that,
Tressa.
Me too.
I just really wish that like I would have been able to have the mindset and the determination to see things the way that they wrote in their poem, because I was on a whole, like, I let the world get the better of me, the anxiety, the generational problems with parents and all of it. And so it took me a long time to grow. But that's kind of a point that she made that really was one of my favorites, was um, number 9. She said, "There is no fixed age to pursue passions and dreams." And that, for me, like, I really resonate with, because um, it took me a long time to grow up and to kind of get my crap together. And I felt like I had wasted so much time, and that I had lost all opportunity to do anything. And it's not true at all. Like, I'm still, like, I started my writing late because I was a perfectionist and I thought it wasn't going to be good enough. And I am now on this podcast with other amazing poets, and you know what I mean? It's a matter of just choosing to still go for it, and knowing that it really isn't ever too late to ever work on yourself and believe in yourself. And I loved the positivity in it. I think the other one, 18, yes, a career is important, but don't let go of your art. That one really stood out to me, because life is so busy and there's so much going on now and so much distraction, that it's so easy to, like, get burned out and get too tired to take enough time to do the thing that feeds your spirit. And whether it be writing, whether it be like art, music, whatever it is, like, it's easy to make excuses to not do it because you have responsibility or whatever it may be. But it's so important to hold on to that, because that's what keeps you going through life and keeps you positive and motivated. And so I really liked this, and also happy belated birthday.
Well said, Tressa. Zach, did I skip you again?
No, not at all.
Okay. That's even worse than actually skipping you, is thinking I did when I didn't. I actually, well said, Tressa. Loved your comment, by the way. And I could tell this hit home with me. It did with Zach, and it did with you. That is a great piece when it hits home with everybody, and we all take our own personal life experiences and feel that in a piece somebody else wrote. So well done, Purple, on that piece. What do we got next, Zach?
All right. Next up, we have Mario's piece, and that's entitled Haughty Seas, and I'm going to give this a read. We enclose it in dree, just to get drowned by the endless, grief-filled, flawed, haughty seas. End poem.
Well, you didn't give me much time to think about this one, Zach. Pressure's on. Haiku-ish. I didn't count syllables, but that's what we're looking at. We enclose it. Dre. Just to get drowned by the endless grief filled. Wow. Nice. It's an interesting little piece that gets right to it. And you explore, just like with haiku, there's so much to be taken out of it when it's so simple that you can apply your own thoughts and your own experiences and stuff like that. And I like the way this went in that short read, because it took me someplace. The last line, grief-filled, haughty seas. I actually went to make sure that there wasn't multiple definitions of haughty, because it's proud, arrogant, is what I got out of it. And I thought, grief-filled, flawed, haughty seas didn't make sense to me at first. And then I processed it. And it makes more sense to me now, because it is the haughty seas are grief-filled, but they're still pretending like they're not. They're just going through the motions is all they're doing. And that's what I got out of this is it's just going through the motions when you're experiencing grief. So it had a beauty and a depth to it. And if I'm incorrect, I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on it to see where you went with it, because then I can see an alternate perspective perhaps. But that's where I went was going through the motions while you're experiencing grief. And it's kind of a beautiful piece in that way. Let's see, Tressa, your thoughts?
Yeah, this was one where I actually had to go Google the word greed and make sure that I was understanding what I was reading, because it's not even something that I was familiar with. But
yay, I wasn't the only one.
Oh, me too.
Yeah. Okay, good. But yeah, it just, the way that it's written and the wording that's used, it brings kind of a haunting feeling to it. That's, you can feel like the sorrow in it, but it's also an elegant way of writing it. I agreed with what you said about it's kind of just saying, it reminded me of what about your Sunflower poem, when it was talking about just like coming to terms with where you're at, like you're dealing with this, you're feeling this, and this is the situation that you're in, and these are the circumstances, and just coming to terms with it kind of gives you a little bit more control and feeling over the situation, and acknowledging that you're able to grieve and feel it is actually like potentially more healing and beneficial. But yeah, I think it was short but very beautifully written.
Couldn't agree more, Tressa. Zach, your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree with everyone saying too. About grief and how it's how it seems to be like I guess I feel I hear the saying like waves of grief. Like when someone dies initially, you feel the waves, like they're really like kind of big at first and they kind of subside. This is kind of like right in the middle of when it's really big, I think, when the grief is like really there and omnipresent. You just will have to endure it, which is what Dree means, to endure. And this feeling is just a really crushing sensation, really, because you're like under all these waves, and it's you're literally drowning under that feeling of being crushed almost, and it's not a pleasant feeling. Drowning on under all those emotions and tears and haughty seas. Yeah, it's almost as if the grief is being kind of unkind in the moment, and maybe in air, but the grief itself, in a way, in that moment. But I think it's like a very specific part of this person, the speaker's grieving, and maybe it was not always like that, or maybe it's gonna, I think, probably subside because it's not always that intense.
Yep, Zach, you too. It's funny because we're jabbing at each other on the board here now, Zach, because we all had to look up terms, and that's a good thing. What do we got next?
Next up, we have LOL's piece, or LOL's piece, and that's Where Memories Linger, and that's your read, Bill.
Dang it, I'm behind. Was jackassing around trying to comment. Where Memories Linger. Okay, I found it. Just look how it beckons with welcoming arms, where laughter still lingers, where comfort disarms, as sunlight then settles and kisses its frame, and softly imparts there a tender acclaim. Its cushion of feathers, now shaped with content, bears witness that many an hour has been spent, relaxing and reading, daydreaming away, as cares for tomorrow drift gently with day. This corner, this haven, where summer clings tight, with peppery freshness of rose, lemon bright. Geraniums blossom while autumn reclines. For here, in this window, the sun always shines. With memories I cherish, I find comfort there, as arms warmly hold me in this yellow chair, remembering loved ones who once sat here too, and just for a moment, they come into view. End poem. Oh, yay. All right. Zach, you want to, or
Yeah.
Tressa, I'm sorry. Tressa, you want to give it a go? I did it again, Zach. I took a long list.
Okay.
God.
Okay. Yeah, this I think was just very it was written with a really nice flow and a comfort to it. Like, I like the way that they brought up the cushion of the feathers now shaped with content. It's like that cushion has been there for a while. Like, it's been used through a lot of close ones and used by people that you care about and love, and it might be a little worn, but it's something that's been there, along with the chair that the poet is speaking of, that's been there, and it's held the person in the chair currently and the people before, and it brings this remembrance and this kind of nostalgic feeling of memories of people that it seems are now gone from their life, but they're not sad about it in that moment. They're actually at peace, and they're feeling the connection because of things around them. And I think that it was a really soft piece, and it flowed really well. And bringing in like the peppered roses, the lemon brightness, stuff like that, it gave good imagery and a sensory experience to it. So I really liked it. It was really comforting.
Oh, I agree. Zach, your thoughts?
Yeah, I thought this was a soft, and like Tressa said, a soft piece, and it was also warm and comforting and vivid, and I could just see it in my mind's eye very clearly. I didn't, I mean, the picture does it justice, but I mean, in my mind's eye, I could pretty much see honestly, kind of the exact same thing almost, and it's very specific and very finely drawn that way, and it does it. It describes it in a way that, of course, I think the artwork itself maybe can't even like it doesn't really have the warring quality that some of the words have. It's just kind of, you can tell it's been kind of used a bit, and I like that quality about it. A chair that's been loved, and it holds a lot of memories that way. And I think that's what I like about it the best, is that it holds a lot of those memories and loved ones, and they could still be there or not. I think that there's a little bit of melancholy there at the end too, potentially, that those loved ones who once sat there might not be there still, but I think like many of them still are. But I just that was just kind of a thought I had at the end.
One of the coolest things to me, and I thought this, is if you've ever been told, and I know Kevin throws this around quite a bit to educate people on how to write poetry, show, don't tell. That's what this piece did. Without that picture, I'm with you, Zach and Tressa, I would have drew a very similar picture in my own brain. Now, if I tried to translate it to paper, it would have been horrible because I'm not an artist. But I could see that picture from her words, and there was such a beauty to that. The using, the lemons for the room, and that is the sunlight coming in. And there's, no matter what's happened in this room, there's so much comfort. I could see like going to my grandma's house when I was a kid, You know, she had the good living room. We were of that generation where she had the good living room with plastic on the chairs that the kids weren't even allowed to look at. Honestly, if we crossed that threshold, we'd be slapped. But there was the comfortable living room that the kids could do whatever they wanted, watch cartoons and stuff like that. And I still remember what the chair looked like, the arrangement, the Zenith console TV, I could tell you where the registers were in the room, all of that stuff. And it's been 45 years probably since I've been there in that house, in that scene. And that's what I felt, the nostalgia in this piece, the comfort, the warmness of it. So she did so well just taking you there instead of telling you what was there. And that's what was beautiful about this piece, the nostalgia, the memory, the vivid painting that I could draw just from the words. It was beautifully written. The flow was really nice, and it was fun to read. It honestly, it warmed my heart to read it. It did. I've probably turned the heat down 2 degrees now because I'm warmer. Love the piece. What do we got next, Zach?
All right. Next up, we had JEG325's piece, and that's Can't Get the Stain Out, and I'm going to give that a read. I spilled ketchup on my old t-shirt, tried to wash it several times. A red blob stared with angry eyes, victim to a dark kitchen crime, so I threw it in the garbage can to join my dinner's rotten trout. Just like we do with old dreams when you can't get the stain out. End poem.
I don't know why I enjoyed that one, but I did.
There's humor to that one.
Whenever I opened it up, okay, I see the picture that is the prompt, and it's a kid with a white t-shirt, and there's a big ketchup stain on it. That's happened a million times to all of us throughout our lives, right? But that's all I see. No head, no nothing. And then I go up to the title, Can't Get the Stain Out, and I just laughed. I started laughing because the metaphor being used is, I think it's, clearly a relationship thing. Metaphor for dreams of failed romance. Okay, I just read that makes perfect sense. So you have this shirt that is pure and clean. That represents the thoughts of the romance that is blossoming or starting. And then when it fails, now that thought, that perfect thought, is ruined with a big, huge ketchup stain on it. So it's over. You're moving on. You're like, well, I'm going to have to throw that shirt away and find me another nice white shirt. But Jeg does so well in these short little pieces. I think I say it every time whenever we read one, because his are never terribly long, but they get right to it and get very descriptive. And they are great metaphors. They really are. His writings are usually great metaphors for whatever he's writing about. And I really enjoyed this one. Let's see. Tressa, your thoughts?
I think that it was a really refreshing kind of change of pace to have something more lighthearted come in and give a good little laugh. I always enjoy it when people can take the more serious aspects of life or the struggles of life, and they can find something to bring humor out of it and to look on the bright side of it. And that's something that I always try and do myself. And it's just, this was a really creative and clever way to do that, especially regarding failed romance. I think it was really nice, refreshing for sure.
I agree, Tressa. A lot of people say, too, that comedy is the purest art form.
For sure.
Zach, your thoughts?
Yeah, I was struck by I guess how the speaker was just so repulsed by the stain, and then when I figured out why, I was like, whoa, that's a hell of a way to get that across, to literally throw someone away like that. With the rotten trout, that must, I mean, that to kind of to kind of have that kind of revulsion is and to kind of sort of have that catharsis at the end with a laugh. I thought that was a great way to sort of it's very cleansing that way. I thought to kind of to kind of end with that. to kind of like throw that dream away, as it were. And and I guess start fresh in a way. And I really I was struck by that, the brevity, and it was just it was. I just read it again, and I guess the emotions are hit different because you're aware of like the humor, but like it kind of like it reads a little bit differently, I guess, like a joke when you almost something like that. Yeah, it's a stinging joke though.
That's exactly what I thought, Zach. It's stinging. Like there's some serious pain in there,
but bite there,
like
yeah,
some bite, like a stinging joke. You're right. Well said. Now what do we got, Zach?
Next up we have Pac-Man's piece, and that one's Youth, and that is your read, though.
I wonder to this day how I'm still alive. The bonehead shenanigans I managed to survive. The myriad conditions that permit me to thrive. To this point in time, I'm fortunate to arrive. Harken back to an age of a young man's dreams, laden with opportunity and firebrand schemes, pointing to disaster like laser beams, and struggling mightily not to come apart at the seams. What is that morphs catastrophe into success? Perhaps an invisible hand to guide? I can only guess. Are there manuals or handbooks we're able to access? Wherein lies its origin as I attempt redress? We realize little benefit upon the subject to dwell. There exists no technique with which to foretell. No crystal ball to inquire or scientific parallel. Amidst our own devices, we hope to fare well. But let our fortune lie not in the hand of chance, perhaps to fall prey the twists of circumstance, and suffer the slings of pernicious mischance. It bodes us well to affirm a more courageous stance. Take stock of a talent lurking within your possession. Approach the boundaries of arrogance without transgression. Leave no stone unturned within your discretion. Avoid mightily those endeavors that may require concession. In the presence of dichotomy, our choice must be wise, while avoiding the pitfalls and hazards that may bear disguise. It requires time for a scheme to mature and crystallize. Allow the scale of expenditure and reward to harmonize. We've adequately demonstrated a talent for volition, and thus, with age, we assume an equitable position that need not require explanation or transition. The path well chosen requires no contrition. In poem. All right. Now I'm going to get it right this time, Tressa. You're first after I read. Not Zach. I'm sorry, Zach. At least you got it right this time.
Okay. So the very end part of the poem, I'm going to have to go back and reread because my headphones cut out and I was trying to reconnect. But what I got from this right away, though, was something that I, again, am currently like resonating with. It's looking back on the choices that you made when you were younger. And some people, they lived smarter, more stable, responsible lives, but others, like, they lived chaotic lives. They did things that, like, whether it be reckless driving with your friends when you're drinking and partying or whatever it may be. Like, there's times that I can look back and I'm like, I honestly like was like asking the same question, like, wow, I'm surprised that I'm actually still here sometimes, like that. There's things like, and that you don't even really like think about like in the moment when you're younger, but you do them because it's fun and you have that freedom spirit, and things are just so much easier, and you don't have that weight of responsibility. And so like you're carefree about it. And I have some really good memories from those times, but at the same time, they were actually, some of the choices were pretty dumb and reckless, but they definitely led to positive memories to look back on down the road. And it's kind of like the poets going through the process of like looking back on how that transformation happened. And like, I wasn't doing anything to like really set myself up for success. I was being reckless. I was being dumb. So what is it exactly that finally like got me to this more responsible place in myself? Was it some invisible hand? Like, was it some guidance that I'm not aware of? Like, did it finally just click? It's a internal evaluation of exactly like what steps you took and the events that happened to lead you to where you are in that point in your life. And you kind of like get to a point where you see that you've gained some wisdom, and you actually like appreciate that wisdom, and you learn to have uh, a kind of respect for your old life, but you're content with where you're at now. And it just it's like kind of a cycle of completion. Like, you get, the older you get, it brings you to a stage where you've lived life and you've had your experiences, and now it's time to just mellow down and look back and reflect on them and enjoy like the current moment in peace and comfort, and just laugh at the old times.
Well said, Tressa. Zach, your thoughts?
Yeah, that is well said. I thought that yeah, this I'm wondering at which point the speaker writes this in their life. I know it says youth, but I'm wondering if this is I don't know at what point, if this is like a middle age looking back, or maybe an old age looking back, or I don't know like what point it could be. Um, uh, but I do know that I think that the speaker assesses this portion, the first part of their life, uh, just with a sense of incredulousness, wondering why they're still alive. And there's like this feeling of like wanting to come to terms with who they are, and not necessarily understanding maybe all that that is all at first. And of course, coming apart at the seams too. So there's a little bit of overflow there that's kind of maybe a crisis as we age. But as that happens, I think speaker learns a lot from pernicious mischance and twists of circumstance, and a really I guess the stanza that clicks for me, the key to understanding this poem was probably the fifth stanza. Is the way the speaker looks back on youth and kind of and finds a way to take a more courageous stance, and I guess change things within the self in a way that's increments and not like leaps and bounds, and maybe in a way grow with that, and find a way to have some wisdom, and while avoiding what needs to be avoided, and approaching what needs to be approached, I guess. And I really like also how this is told through rhyme. That's fairly difficult. There's a lot of rhyming words here, and it tells a story. And that's that from a narrative perspective, that's hard to do, and I've always appreciated when someone's able to do that. And I think that this is a very nice collection of advice, and I like the way it ends. And and that the well chosen path, it just like needs no explanation really. That like some of these actions that the speaker takes, they don't need to be explained. They just need to be done, and that they speak for themselves, I think, and people would understand that, I think.
I I appreciate what you said, Zach, and what Teresa has said so far. I love this piece for several reasons, because I think it was speaking to youth, not speaking from youth to youth, if that makes sense. Like, he's reflecting on what he did in his lifetime and the lessons he learned. But he's saying it in a way hoping that some young people would read it and understand, some of the things that happened, because this is written from a point in time in a person's life where they have gained the wisdom. And wisdom can only be gained by experience and time. That's it. That's like somebody telling you, and I've used this analogy more than once, somebody telling you a stove's hot when you're 2. Don't touch that, it's hot. Don't touch that, it's hot. You can hear that 50,000 times, and it doesn't mean anything until you touch that hot stove the first time. And then you connect the dots. You've learned the lessons. And a valuable lesson in life should come without regrets. You could say, boy, I really wish I would have learned that lesson easier. But there's really only one way to learn that lesson, I think. And that's the hard way. So if you learn it the hard way over time, then it sticks, and you shouldn't have any regrets because you've learned that lesson and it has taught you and got you that wisdom that you have earned with the years in life. This poem is written by a mature person, somebody who's been through lots of things, somebody who's probably, I don't know if I would necessarily want to put an age on it, but has experienced enough things in life to where they have gotten this wisdom, and they're trying to impart it on other people and say, look, this is kind of how it went. So don't get discouraged because you'll get there. There's futility in youth. There is, because you want to have everything. But my thought was, if man was born with youth and wisdom, he would rule the world. And you can't have both when you're born. You can only have youth. Wisdom you have to gain. But then what goes away? Youth. So there's a trade-off on both those things. And that's what I was thinking about all the way through this poem, is that trade-off. Every day you get older, you're trading that youthfulness for more wisdom because you've learned along the way. Hopefully, if you haven't, it's going to be futile for a long, long time. Love the piece. And it read very well, too. The rhymes did help, Zach. I was like, oh, my Lord, we're rhyming all the way through this. But it felt so good and so smooth and right. So what do we got next?
Next up, we have Scarlet Knight's piece, and that's entitled You Weren't My Kid, and that's your read, Tressa.
So I'm happy to read this, but I'm just going to quickly note that I feel like after Bill read The Memories Linger that I might have been skipped, and we jumped right to you, Zach.
Oh, but did you? Nope, go back and comment on it.
Oh, no.
Thoughts. It's funny that I skipped you, Tressa. I've been skipping Zach. I'm sorry.
No, that one I think was Zach's fault, but
that was my fault. Yeah.
Boy, I dodged a bullet there, even though I tried to take it.
All my fault.
It happens. It happens. What do we got to do to make it up, Tressa?
I'm happy to read whichever one first, or in whatever order, whatever you guys think.
Oh, I see what I did there. Yep, I sure did. Well, yeah, I did skip Summer Nights. Would you like to read that one? I'm so sorry, Tressa.
It's okay. It's all right.
How about we read Scarlet Nights now, and then go into Summer Nights, and yours to close, Zach? Just put it in at the bottom. Is that fine?
Sure.
I'm cool with that.
You okay with that, Tressa? Because we want to hear your poem too.
Yep, I am good.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. You weren't my kid, but I held you to my chest. When you had fallen and tears were rolling, and when I sang to you, you'd settle to listen until my throat was sore and notes squeaky, and you slept lightly. You weren't my blood, but I started my days at 3 a.m. just to care for you. And even if I collapsed into my bed when you left at 6 p.m., or even well after midnight, I never missed a day. Never tell your mom and dad this, but I saw your first steps, heard your first words, watched you learn your way through the world. And when bedtime came, only my voice would soothe you. Your father called it magic. I know it was only time and care. I didn't have a lot to offer, exhausted eyes and empty wallet. I won't say I was the best caretaker, because I wasn't. I didn't know what I was doing, but for a year of your life, I was the one who raised you. I hope you never forget your auntie, even now that I've moved away, because I'll always be there for you, no matter the distance nor time of day. End poem.
That was a sweet lament. Zach, you want to go first on this one?
Sure. Yeah, this was just a caring piece. How someone could care for someone else who's not essentially whatever circumstance. Like whatever circumstance gives that child to that caregiver to be taken care of. And I've really, even though that the speaker, this child wasn't of blood, there's still a bond there. And I think that even though the speaker says they didn't have a lot to offer, I think that the mere presence says a lot, really. Even though that they didn't know what they were doing at first. This was a lot of firsts here. So I think that's one way to learn. But I guess this piece, I really got a sense of doing what was right for what was given at the time. And I really enjoyed the sentiment, the love here, even though that the speakers moved away, they'll always be there no matter what. There's a real connection there, and a real connection that belies any material wealth, and I really enjoyed it.
It's funny because I was just going to the author's notes and I seen a message on the board that Scarlett had suggested to read the author's notes so we know what this was about. And it turned it on me because I thought it was first. Anyway, my thought was the subject was an aunt and somebody professing their love and missing of an aunt, the nostalgia of that. But in actuality, it's the other way. It's the niece. So it's written from the perspective of the aunt going there and spending time with the niece as a youngster. And those formative times whenever kids are so wonderful. They really are, before they have their own personalities and start testing the boundaries and things like that. And there was a real sense of love in this piece. It was very loving, soft piece that was really, really nice and pleasant. And Trissa, you read it so well. This one deserved a female voice. So thank God you were here this week to read this one.
Oh,
and
thank you.
I really enjoyed it. And the author's notes did help clarify the perspective to me. I really, really appreciate it. It's a beautiful little piece. Your thoughts, Tressa, after you read it?
This actually, I really connected with it, and during the last stanza, was trying really hard not to start crying because it really hit home for me in my own way, because I had a similar kind of bond. This one right here, it seems like it's maybe had been a close friend or something, because it says you weren't my blood, but she's calling her niece and referring to herself as the aunt. And so it was something that it was a close relationship. And being that she was only 19, like, I don't know the circumstances of what was going on, that she was spending so much time taking care of her and being around her, if it was just because they were always together. But being 19 and navigating the responsibilities of taking care of a little child is like, it is a challenge. And you can't know what you're doing at first. Like, if you haven't done it, it's all new territory. And we end up creating some guilt in ourselves that really is misplaced, because ultimately, like, I feel like the poet was really doing the best that she could with the circumstances she had and the information that she had in herself, with where she was at in life. And I absolutely relate to that. But it was very heartfelt and very touching. And I really enjoyed, actually, the most was the author notes and just the personal message to her, in hopes that maybe someday that she'll be able to see this and be reminded of that bond that they had, and be reminded that she's loved by this person. So I loved it. It was very touching. It was beautiful. Thank you.
Oh, it was a wonderful piece of loving kindness. Now, are we ready to go back to Tressa's poem, Zach?
I think so.
Fantastic. See how we right the ship? All we do is just steer it away from the wind and catch it and go.
Okay, so I'm reading the other one now too.
Yes.
Are you ready to read yours, Tressa?
Let's do it. Okay, let me just find it really quick. Okay. Sail me on an ocean blue, upon a boat that's made for two. Pull me close and hold me tight. Embrace me in the sweet moonlight. Revel in my loving touch. Comfort me when life gets tough. Awaken me from my deep sleep. Liken me to a shepherd sheep. Infinite are the stars above. Fiery meters shoot thereof. Raining down sparks of light. Against the current we shall fight. Giving into desires deep. Intuition says your mind to keep. Levitate up like a cloud. I only want to make you proud. Surprised at the silk that comes off your tongue. Together in our hearts still young. Impeccable is your skill. Call to me, you'll get your kill. Exalt me with your words of gold. Xanthic roses you give me to hold. Play me like a violin. Introduce me to the sweetest sin. Awaken me to my deepest desires. Lighten me the hottest of fires. Immaculate grace is your form. Down on my knees, here to perform. Open-minded, here I am. Come here, doctor, I need an exam. Impressions of lips on my thighs. Obedience is my current disguise. Raging waters sweeping me under. Starlit night filled with wonder. End poem.
Tressa, first of all, I would like to say thank you for saving us from reading that. And Mary Poppins before my head explodes. I have to say Mary Poppins. Okay. Well read. Zach, you want to go first on this one?
Sure. Oh, yeah. This was a beautiful piece. I loved how the oceanic pull sort of brought me in initially, and sort of riding the surface of this ocean and above, like being with someone else, or feeling like like with someone else within this nocturnal setting is a feeling of like vastness. Really, you have like you're surrounded by meteors and stars, and a very vivid nocturnal setting. And not only that, but there's the words being whispered by the lovers, and I really and there's some sensuality there that I really appreciated too. And there's such a declaration of personal love here, like a series of they seem like almost vows, almost uh, like 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 calling, like a lot of there's a lot of words that are asking someone to do something else for someone, and I really like that. And there's such a vivid blend of natural and human tones throughout, and I really like the interplay between like the human and the nature too, and how those two coincided. That was really well done.
Thank you.
So the first thing I noticed about the piece was it is an acrostic.
Yes.
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, undertaken by many for a contest. I see. That's curious. I'm going to have to go back and look at that contest to see what else everybody else did. But I thought my head was going to explode with Mary Poppins, and my wife will attest to this. Whenever something just strikes me as hilarious, I have to verbalize it or my head will explode. It's nearly happened 7 times in my life, I bet. But I loved that part of it. And then as you were reading it, and you had said, Teresa, when you told us you were joining us for the show tonight, you said, well, I really need to read my poem anyway, and now I understand why.
Yes. I would have felt so bad.
It would have been less powerful if Zach or I was reading it, because it is written in a sensual way from a female perspective. And it's not raunchy and it's not dirty. It's soft and it's light and it's beautiful and it's pretty, and it escalates from top to bottom. That's what I like about a sensual piece, is a piece that goes that way but doesn't get too bedroomy, too, into the actions and stuff like that. Instead of the acts of passion are ignited by the passion itself and the love that's deeper within and the spiritual connection and all that stuff. And that's what your walk through all the nature stuff and the cosmic stuff through this piece, it actually helps hammer that home and make it feel deeper than just passionate. And that's the beautiful part. Well written and well read, Teresa. Really enjoyed
Thank
it. Zach?
All right.
You went, didn't you?
I'm all set. I guess my piece is up, and
that's where we're at, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a constellation sleep.
All righty.
I cast myself into the cosmos each night, straining to find her swimming in sky's ocean. Else nightmares of her endless death taint me. Nourishing the brightened stars, I shiver as the black velvet veil flattens, enveloping my prone body as I sleep, giving me warmth. Her arms held me home. A halo of gaseous dust ignites the image, smiling crystal sage emblazoned above. Looking up to her, of all the people I know, brightest, highest star, my pretty Polaris. Her dripping sheen sparkles on me, how she wept upon my body at birth. I lay stranded on this earthly mattress, chasing her across space and time. Forever she strays from my cresting reach, grabbing handfuls of stardust while her face feels my restless grasp and softens. Her countenance holds me in place until I turn to dust where I came. Feeding constellations, reigning with her, side by side. We refuse to cease, even as the light dies around us. We will survive in the dark. And poem.
Mm-hmm. Well, we decided to end on a cosmic note there, the last two. Well done, Zach. Well read. Beautiful picture, too. That's yours, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a beautiful picture. That's one of my favorite images you've ever put on a poem. It's really beautiful. I love the porcelain look to it. For all of you that can go there and see it, it is gorgeous, and it reflects beautifully what the poem said. And I love what it did here. What you did in this one, I believe, was try to it's like a soft grief. Maybe it's not a longing, and all of that is with it, but it's not romantic because of the way it ends. Feeding constellations, reigning with her side by side, we refuse to cease. Even as the light dies around us, we survive in the dark. So I like that. And it speaks like a memory, like somebody that's gone and all that. And there's that grief, but the grief is not painful so much anymore. It's more like almost comforting, because it maybe it is grief, but it's beautiful memories that, you've gotten to the reflective part and all of that. And then using the constellation sleep. When I didn't know what it was at first, and then as this was being read, and I was reading along by you, and it's a great read, by the way, Zach. As it was being read and I was reading along, I started feeling this loss, and that's where the title made way more sense to me after that, because constellation sleep is the sleeping of a constellation. It's when the lights have went out, and that spawned the grief. So this is a different kind of grief, like I said, than I've ever read from you, Zach, I think, because it is softer and more warm and nostalgic and kind of comforting. If grief can be comforting, that's what it is to me. This piece in particular is. So well written and well read too, Zach. Tressa, your thoughts?
Yeah, this one hit a little different for me. I always enjoy poems about the cosmos and stars and planets and all of that, because it's such a powerful way to express the emotions and what it is that you're trying to convey. And I think that you did a really, really good job with that. I was reading the part where it says, "How she wept upon my body at birth. I laid stranded on this earthly mattress, chasing her across space and time. Forever, she strays from my questing reach." And it just, by the end of it, they're talking about being side by side and refusing to give up, and it just felt so timeless. And like Bill said, there was a gentleness to it, and just this gosh, I cannot think of the right word right now for it, but it had this, like, I guess the best word that I can come up with right now off the top of my head would be like this vintage kind of timeless feeling to it. Like it was this old, never ending, everlasting energy behind it. And I really enjoyed it. It was a really good job.
Oh, I like what you said there at the end, and I'm sure Zach will too.
Yeah.
Zach, you're up.
Wow. Well, you two touched on. Yeah, absolutely. I think what Tressa was driving at especially was like, I felt like she picked up on how like unconditional the feeling was and how eternal it was. Like it was a family bond, and it's like unsullied that way. It was really like a pure feeling. And soft in that way. I wanted it to be grief, but not like overt and like bombastic. So they wanted to be more comforting.
Yeah, it was such a beautiful piece, Zach. It was. Do you care to elaborate anything else on why you wrote it or anything? What it is?
Oh, nothing in particular. No. Not that I could think of. It was just the nocturnal, another cosmic grief piece. I've been kind of writing a series of those, and I might actually officially turn it into a series.
That would be awesome.
Well, you said it's another cosmic grief piece. This one, I've read a lot of your grief pieces, Zach, and this one feels a little different. It feels softer and warmer and less hurting in this one. This one just felt beautiful. It really did. And you read it so well. It was it was just nice. It really was nice. It wasn't. And I mean, I'm almost sad to say that that's the last piece of the show, but it was a good one to end the show on.
It was.
Tressa Rose, you have delighted us.
Absolutely.
Again, thank you for coming in and being the softer voice and reading your own poem in particular, because Zach and I would not have read that as you did.
Yeah.
But I can't remember. You were talking about something. We had what was the comment you had said about, it was something reminded you of a song.
Oh, yeah. Nice. I like it.
I got to sneak it in on Zach.
Of course you did.
I got to try to sneak it in there. So, guys, well done. Tressa, thank you for coming and joining us again. Zach and I are the staples. We're here every week doing this, but it's always nice to have somebody join us. And Tressa, I'm going to give you the floor. You let everybody know how easy it is.
It is actually way easier and much more mellow than I expected it to be at all. And you guys particularly make it really comfortable for me and make me feel like just at home with you guys. This is only my second time doing it, and I really enjoy it, and I look forward to doing it even more. So
I believe you fit right in with us.
Oh yes,
and we're glad to have you. It's always nice, and we encourage everybody from the group, if you want to do this, all you got to do is get a hold of us. Let us know. We'll get you scheduled. We'll let you do it too, and it'll be a great time. Zach, anything to add?
Just thank you for enjoying poetry with us tonight, everyone who is listening in, and to Archie's out there. Yes.
yeah.
Absolutely true. 100%. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Have a wonderful rest of your week.